everyone, welcome again. In the last video, we learned how to pass values using request parameters. In this video, we are going to see how to use path variables. Path variable is another way of passing the values to the API, but this time instead of passing the parameters using the question mark as part of the request parameter, the values will be sent as part of the URL path. So let's see what do we mean by that. Here, notice the API URL that we use for the request parameters. So this is the API path that we are trying to hit, and this additional thing in the URI is the request parameter. By path variable, we mean that we will pass the same value but as a URL path. So the resulting HTTP URI would look something like this. Let me copy this one. Greet. And then instead of passing the value as a request parameter, we will pass the value directly here. Like this. Because we already have a method which is listening to this URL path. So we'll change the URL path for this video and we'll write a new method to capture the path variables. So the new URL pattern for this method will be greet by name. So let's start by writing a new method in the same handler, which will return a string, and we'll name it the same greet by name. All right. And we know we have to annotate it with get mapping. That's also fine. Because we want to capture this URL path, so we need to provide this mapping here first of all. And now we have to capture this value as part of the path variable. How do we define the path variable? Because this value is part of the URL, so we need to write the complete URL when we are writing the method. So we know that the value will come here, but we don't know how to write it. The way we define path variables in get mapping or in any mapping is we use curly braces, then we give it a name. So we can give it any name. Let's say we name it name. So that means for this method, the URL matching will start from here /users/greet by name, which is this part. And after that, there will be a value passed to this API, and Spring Boot will link that value to this variable. This is the path variable. That's how we define the path variables. How do we capture it? Well, same as request param, we have another annotation, which is path variable, like this. And because we are using the same name for method parameter, we don't need to explicitly bind the path variable here. And once we define the parameter, we can use it in the method body. So let's say we are going to print in this way, like this. And let's start the API server. So the server is up now. We'll go to the browser to test the API. We'll say localhost/users, and instead of greet, we need to pass greet by name. And now we need to pass the actual value here, because that is the part of URL. Call dummy user, and if we hit enter, we see hey dummy user. So what Spring Boot did, it will start matching the URL. So it will start from here, and till here it can see that okay, there is a URL pattern, but then after that it sees this notation, and so it will bind that value to this particular path variable, which is available in the method as the name parameter. And that's what we are using in the method body. So that's how we use the path variables. That's all for this video. Stay tuned. Thanks for watching.